I like my cushions to have a zip in the back. I think it looks much more professional. And I take the easy way out because I don't put it in the piping. I put it about 2 or 3 inches in from one side of the cushion. To do this simple technique is take the cushion cover, measure the dimensions of your cushion, measure the width and measure the length. Obviously, if it's going to be a square, it'll be exactly the same dimension. You're going to cut a piece of fabric that is the same width as your cushion front, but about 2 inches longer. Take that piece of fabric and fold up approximately 3 inches from one side. This is folding right sides together, the wrong side. Now, when it comes to the zip, you can use really a zip of any length you like. The zip ideally wants to be slightly shorter in length than the width of the cushion cover. If you've got a really long zip, then you can sew across the teeth and shorten it. But be very careful when you're stitching across a metal zip because you can break the needle. So the zip wants to be slightly less than the cushion cover. Obviously, of course, there's no reason why you can't use zips on a roll. And word of caution, if you are going to do zips on the roll, measure the length of zip and stitch both ends before you cut it off, because it's very easy for the zip head to fall off and then you try getting it back on again. Having folded up one side, with a ruler, you're going to measure in 3/4 inch from the fold and draw a line. The length of the line wants to be at least 1 inch. The space between the lines will fit the zip. So if you've got a fairly short zip, your lines might want to be a little longer. You're now going to sew this line, and I start on the outside edge and sew to the end and sew back again. And it'll resemble something like this one. I've used black thread. I would suggest you use matching thread to your material. When you've sewn both sides, you're going to slit all the way along the fold here. So take your scissors and just slit the fold, slit it open. Having slit it open, it pays to press it completely flat. And your zip is now going to look, or your back ready for the zip is going to resemble this. Taking the zip, I have the shorter section on the top left-hand side. The zip wants to be placed with the zip head down, so the zip head is actually to the right side of the cushion. Don't get it the wrong way around. All you need is 2 pins, so simply pin the zip in place, 1 pin there and 1 pin here. And you're now ready to go to the sewing machine. I'm now ready to sew my zip in, and I've got the zip foot. Many machines will have a zip foot that looks something like this one, or it may resemble that. I happen to be using a Bernina, and my zipper foot is this particular one. Whenever you put the zip foot on for sewing a zip in using this method, make sure that the zipper foot is on the left-hand side and the needle is on the right. If you've got a Bernina, please be very careful that you've moved the needle over before you begin. So we have the zipper foot on the machine, zip foot on the left, needle on the right. Here is the zip. Open the zip by a couple of inches. Slide it underneath the presser foot, and you're going to start in from the end by 1 inch or so. Lower presser foot and drop needle into fabric, and I'm sewing a narrow seam, round about a little bit more than 1/8 of an inch. Sew literally a few stitches, stop with the needle down, slide the zip head past. Now you might need to raise the needle or even raise the presser foot to get the zipper head right past. Keep on going, keeping the edge of that fold aligned with the middle of the teeth. And remembering we're sewing a narrow seam. So keep on going, edge of fold aligned with the middle of the teeth, right down to the very end of the zip. You don't need to have pins because your fingers will hold it nice and steady. When you get down to the end of the zip, take care. Because if your zip happens to have a metal bit in it, or you've reached that heavy plastic end, just be careful not to sew through the metal bit because you'll break a needle, or be careful over the plastic end. On the return journey, you're going to sew a larger seam, certainly sort of a good 1/4 to possibly 3/8 of an inch. And this time, you're going to overlap the edge of the fabric here, just fractionally over the original fold. This is so that when you put the cushion in and it's all nice and tight, you won't get a gap when the fabric has some tension on once you stuff that nice pad in. Remember, your pad should always be 1 inch bigger than your finished cushion cover. Sew back to where you started, maintaining that seam allowance. Stop about 2-3 inches from the end of the zip. Lower your needle down. Slide the zipper past. Proceed a little further. Now remove the pins. Do not leave the pins in. When you've removed the pins, complete the seam. Right back to the beginning again. Drop your needle. Turn the work. So back across the zip. Stop one more time. Turn the work, and you're going to return to where you started. When you stop, leave your threads long enough to pull through to the back and tie off. It's about the only time in the world when I actually do this. When you're ready, lay the cushion back onto the cushion front. Do ensure you've left the zip open a little way and that the zip is at the bottom of the cushion if there is a specific design. Pin it on the 4 corners with your pins going outwards, and I'd pin it in the middle as well, and swap back to your regular sewing machine presser foot. I tend to, when I'm sewing a back onto a cushion, always use nearly 1/2 inch seam allowance. It's just that bit of extra safety in case anyone jumps on the cushion. I'd start my stitching near the zip and do a roundy corner, just a gentle round. You know, use something to draw a gentle arc. Sew round the corners, all the way round, roundy corners. That stops the cushion from having those funny sort of rabbit's ears. When you've done, trim any excess fabric off, turn the cushion right side out, insert the cushion pad, and you'll end up with a wonderful zipped back to your cushion. There you go. What could be easier?